Oh, hello again, everyone. Welcome back. Thanks for visiting once again. And there's some dust there. We don't want that, do we? Anyway, come back to the Canberra, which I'm going to continue today. And it seems to me that lots of people have visited to look at videos of the Canberra being built. There seems to be a good deal of interest in it, which is quite pleasing. And therefore, if you're here and returning, thank you very much indeed for doing so. If you're here for the first time, then I'm going to bid you very welcome and say to you, why not hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, I think it's called. And I would hope that we could entertain you for the next sort of half an hour or so, and then subsequently further on from there. I hope that it's moderately entertaining. I think last year sometime I told a joke and some people thought it was funny. So let's hope that happens sometime soon again, eh? So anyway, here we go. Just to bring you up to date, tailplane has been put on. The tailplanes here, I need to put the control surfaces on here. As you can see those there, I've sharpened them up at the back. We'll do that a little bit later. And put them on because I'm going to put them on slightly deflected. But today, for the first period, what I'm going to do is to look at actually making another door for this. I mentioned in one of my previous videos that I'd actually lost the door, and that is because I'm very, very careless, and my wife has now stopped me from being in charge of any doors in the house in case I should lose them. But I'm going to have to make another one, and so what I'm going to use is a piece of plastic. I've curved it slightly, which just to prove to myself that it can be done, and it can be, and I can create a surface that matches the curve so that I can place it in there. And then what we're going to have to do is to fit this piece of plastic to this area here, and then introduce some little slots here in, and I use polystyrene stock. That was the word I was looking for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some cutting and hacking and shaping and going so that you can see this being done. But what we'll do is just zero in a little bit here on this to begin with and just show you where we are. Just shut that drawer for a minute. And the idea here is to get this to fit in along there like that. So what I'll do is I'll use this one surface here that I've got, which is a straight edge, and I know it's straight, as a datum surface, and I'm going to create an edge here, which is the leading edge of the leading part of that door there, and I'm going to run that down and then cut off and then shape that so that I'll then have a top and a bottom side there, and we'll run that across, fit that properly hopefully. And we'll hopefully then end up with a door after perhaps not too many minutes. I really don't know how long this is going to take, so we'll just have to you'll just have to see where we go with it, won't we? So let's put that back in there so you can see that. So first things first, I'll get my cheapo cutters. I think they'll be the ones. I have some Tamiya cutters or Tamiya cutters, depending upon which part of the world you come from. Which I do use for sprue and such like, but I tend only to use it for the thinner card. So I'm just going to do this by eye to begin with, and I'm just going to hold this up so that this is about level here, and then cut this off just about there. Sorry, I just keep moving this away. I'm looking over the top of the camera, of course, as you know, as usual. I'm going to overdo it slightly because I don't want to have to do this a second time if I can avoid it. And then what we'll do there is just cut that away. I can put that away in my little ditty box there, and therefore what we have now is the beginnings of the door, and we can just put that down there. We can see it's actually quite difficult to show this because of course the wingspan is quite large and I can't get this too far up here, so we're kind of there on that front, in the right sort of area. So what we can then do is I can then start to cut this down slightly until I get to a point where it's close-ish to being a the edge of the door, the right angle to the edge of the door. So I'm just going to do a quick comparison here, if I can. That's about right there in terms of it's a pretty much a right angle, so we can get 220 stick here. I'm going to try and just move this a little bit away, and then I'll zero out a little bit here so you can see what on earth's going on. I'm just going to file that. Actually, it's a bit warm in here this evening. I'll just take my jacket off, and hopefully now what we can then do is get to a point where this door will fit here pretty much. Just gonna bend that slightly just across my finger here. So that's just about there actually. So what I can then do is go for a slightly smoother file, and what I'm going to do is then just curve that surface there and try and make it match that top surface. So we'll have to zero in a little bit on this, and I'll show you what I'm doing here. Where are we? There we go. So I'm just going to just match those two curved surfaces if we can, and this should then put us in a position where we have a curve that looks reasonably good. Now I don't have to fit this precisely because I'm going to have this door open, but it just has to look good enough. I've not quite got that right. I'll try and match the pair of them. Yeah, let's see if we can make this focus. It doesn't want to focus today for some strange, odd reason. I don't quite know why that might be. Right, I'll just have a quick fit here. Yes, that's not quite. I'm going to file that surface down there a little bit, just to blunt the edge a little bit here. Oh, now that's focused. That's good. Makes a change, doesn't it? So yeah, as you can see, that's actually slightly off, out of kilter in terms of it's not quite square. So what I'll do with that is just burr that edge off there. One of the things you need to learn to do when you're doing this sort of thing is to file flat and not sort of like that. Now that's quite a hard skill to learn, and I may still not have it actually. I mean, I learnt to file flat on metal back in the days when I was working to tolerances of around 1/100 of a millimetre, but not. I may have lost the skill, so we'll see. I mean, perhaps not so much can I do that. Oh, that's beginning to look a little bit more like it, and if I flatten that surface and make it square and square it off, that should help us. Just going to see if I can get that absolutely. Yeah, that's a bit better, that one. So what we'll do is, I'm just off camera here. Instead of filing like that, I'm filing like this, which kind of helps. and that tends to smooth that corner a bit. And as you know, I do these things all live, which means that if things go wrong and I have to try and rescue them, you tend to see all of that stuff anyway. And that's I think that's a good thing, because I say that if Zin can, you can. See, that's much too blunt. That's a lot too blunt. That it needs to be a sharper corner. Much more like that. So I can bring that down there, and that should help both corners here. And with any luck, let's just go this way and just see if we can flatten that off here. Now we should be able to tell whether this is square to a pretty accurate degree, to be honest with you, just by eye. And we can compare the top edge to the bottom edge, and it's looking better. Now I think that, you know, we've got a bit of work to do there anyway, but what that's served to do is to actually make those two corners, from what I can see, match a little bit more, which is I'm more satisfied with than I was 30 seconds ago. So let's just bring that into play there. So we've got that section's done there now, so that's all good. So what I'm going to do now is we'll take a look at the we'll throw that around a little bit. I'm going to turn that round there and see if I can just compare the edges here, to see if we can start to make that's off camera here, make that door. That's where we want that. So we're going to try and I'm going to do this again, do this by eye a little bit, and then we'll come back to flattening that off. So we've got a bit of work to do there. See, that's slightly concave there, so we'll just turn that over and then file some more, and that's made it flatter. I'll just go off camera a minute and just give that a quick file. Let's come back out again so that you can see what I'm up to. I should say, by the way, I want to give a big thanks to good old Hobby Time, who was most helpful in terms of pointing out a couple of things about this kit, and there was another contributor as well who pointed out some things, particularly about the dihedral angle of the tail fins, or the tail planes. I'll come to that in a second, but there is some gratitude to be administered, shall we say, as a result of comments from contributors. And by the way, do feel free to comment, just as I carry on. You know, I'm always happy to write to people, and I take the view on this that if people take the effort or make the effort to contribute in writing, I should make the effort to say something more than thanks, cheers, or whatever. You know, I mean, that's an appropriate comment in many ways. Look, I got plenty of margin to work with here, as you can see. So I can get this absolutely spot on square by filing it. I'm just going to do this off camera for a minute, and we'll just have another look at this. See, that's now beginning to come up square. With this technique this way, I'm first of all getting dust on my nice new model, but with this technique I can press on this side or that side or evenly, and I can watch what I'm doing as I go. And that should then get us to be able to file this distance out and basically chase this fit out. And we're not far off there. We're about probably about 1 millimetre to go. So this is a 220 grit stick, so it shouldn't take all that long. And at this time we're going to have to start being a little bit more careful to make sure that these sides are all parallel to one another. And I may get the caliper out at some stage and have a look at this so that you can see precisely how accurate I've been on manufacturing this, and I'll give you the opportunity to point and laugh at least anyway. So take a little, have a check. See, that's very close now. We're very close, so we're going to have to be a little bit more careful. Try it one more time. Yeah, very close, very close. Just with these things now you have to be slightly patient. I'll just move that slightly away. We'll just move that bit of material off here. Have a quick look at the distances there in terms of the parallel of this particular. It looks all right to me, so I'm not speaking so much this time because I'm sort of concentrating on this. I hope that you don't mind. I think this sort of thing might be better suited to a live, but I will do some more lives at some stage, and hopefully you'll all join me, or at least some of you will, and thank you both, by the way, to those who do. I call the lives Radio Zin. That's a name I cheekily coined myself, of course, as you probably realised. You are of course most welcome when I do them. I don't do them particularly regularly, and it tends to be something more of a pop-up, to be truthful, but it's nice to do them now and again, and I do different models on those lives. So for example, at this point I'm doing one of those X-Wing fighters, which is, I think what's it called? It's one of the Disney X-Wings from Star Wars and so on, which will be well known to many of you. Oh, there we go. Look, we've got the fit. We've just achieved the fit. So that's the fit we want, and that gives us that door, and we'll need to curve it a bit. We can do that with some hot water, but now what we need to do, our next challenge, is to make the curve here match all around. So I'm going to be really quite careful with this now. Oops. More careful than that, perhaps, shall we say. And we're going to try and create a curve that matches. Oh, there's the phone, eh? I'm going to have to leave that because I'm right in the middle of this, of course. Well, that looks quite good. Yeah, that looks all right. People ring the landlines so irregularly that it's and always a bit of a surprise when they do, to be honest with you. Hopefully no one decides to phone on the mobile, which I use my mobile phone, of course, to record these. What I should do actually is put the phone on to aeroplane mode, and of course then it wouldn't receive any incoming calls. So let's have a quick look at that. That looks okay. Yes, there we go. I've been able to reject that call without any problems there. So what we can now do is see if that, there we go. Let's just zero in a little bit for you so that you can see this up close. So there we have now a door fitted. The curvature is not precise, let's put it like that, but it will be up like that, so that's not a problem. And the underneath part, let's see if we can show you that. As you can see, the fit is slightly out, but it doesn't matter in terms of that quite so much. Now I can choose which sides to use. I can choose the top side here or the bottom side, but effectively now what we have done is we've created the beginnings of a new door. Now of course, because I've been manhandling this, of course this this door needs a little more curvature, and so I'm going to create that with some hot water and a bit of tape, and I can match the curvature of this surface here with some tape. That's pretty easy to do. So there we are, and then I can detail the inside surface here, and there is some detail to put in. There'll be handles and goodness only knows what. This will need to be primed and painted black, of course, because the internal structure is black. And there we are. So I've actually now made a new door from scratch and shown you precisely how I've done that, which I hope was very interesting to you. Oh, I'll jog the camera there for a bit, and we'll crack on with that. But the next task, which we can maybe have a look at here, is to actually put the tail surfaces on, we're kind of there with that. I think we could, and I'm going to do them slightly deflected, which I think is that's a fair enough way to do them. So let's move all this stuff out of the way. Do good housekeeping, eh? I always say about this and then don't do it, do I? So let's apply a small amount of glue to the back of this. I use the Tamiya Extra Thick. You can see this just about. Let's move it nearer so that you can see it. Just a bit more on there, as I want this to stick. Now I think that extra thick like this is a very good, it has very good strong adhesive qualities, and so therefore I tend to prefer to use it. But the good thing about it that I like is that you can put this stuff on just pretty much like that. I can get a little bit of a deflection there that I want, and away we go. So the other one to do is this here one, and I'll deflect it to the same degree, so we'll do that as well. Move the glue over here, and then see if we can do the same thing. Just a bit of a dab of this and that there, eh? And then we can drop this one on in the same fashion. And then see that we've got, I'm going to move this above the camera for a minute because I want to get these deflections right. And let's get those deflections as matching as much as we can. And there we go. So we have a little bit of extra detail in terms of something visually interesting to look at, there we are. So looking at the dihedral here. So dihedral is an upwards facing angle of the wings. So the wings, the front wings of the Canberra were dihedraled from the engine nacelles outwards and are flat on the middle sections. The rear, the tailplane sections here, were dihedraled from the wing root, or from the tail root outwards. Now, somebody pointed out to me, and they're absolutely correct in this, that the this tail root section is flat and therefore stands out as being a flat section. What I've done in to deal with this, in fact, is once you put the flat section, or you put the angled section on and it's dried, you can simply sand this, and that flat section virtually disappears. It's not significant anyway, but a small amount of sanding, and it's approximately 5 minutes per side, port and starboard, that deals with it and it goes away, and the problem is now gone. So all I need to do is a bit of seam cleaning here and we're there. So that's that. So it's all good. The Canberra moves on, and believe me, I shall be acting very carefully with that door that I've just fashioned, and I'm going to carry on now and doing this, and hopefully bring it to a conclusion at some stage in the not too far distant, and we'll be able to show you that. Just one final thing is that I do have the white metal oleo legs now, which I've sanded out and removed all the markings from them. So what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to try a little something with some metal chrome paint, and oh, there goes that tripod again. So these sections here are chromed and will be shiny, so I'm going to prime this, put a coat of gloss black on this all round, and then put a coat of probably polished chrome or chrome paint, which I do have, and then paint the rest of this white as it should be, and I'm going to use the anti-flash white again, so I'll just simply mask this bit off here and then paint the rest of these things, and hopefully and repeat with the other leg as well. That's the flying leg, of course, and repeat with the other, and do a similar thing with the nose leg as a nose leg. So hopefully we should be getting towards the conclusion before long. So there we are. Anyway, there's a Canberra. Thank you very much indeed for your time today, and I'm much obliged to you for coming along once again. Best of luck to everybody in your modelling endeavours, and look forward to seeing you at the next one. Take care until then. Bye for now.